Sometimes gaming is all about power. Sometimes it's about style. This custom loop machine, it sure has style. But does it have power? We'll find out in this episode of Shark Gaming Powerboard. This is the first time that we're testing a custom loop machine here at Shark Gaming Powerboard. But what is a custom loop machine? I'll walk you through it. Custom loop machine is water cooling, but taken to another level. So we're used to seeing water cooling in most of our computers here at Shark Gaming, but that's called an AIO system, an enclosed water loop system that's cooling down the CPU of the computer. A custom loop machine like this is cooling both the CPU and the GPU and has a reservoir where you can add more water if you want to. So a custom loop machine is customization of your visual appearance of the build taken to another level. It also has some performance enhancing capabilities. With the custom loop machine, you're no longer relying on having to transport air from inside the case and push it out and rely on a good airflow. Much like a regular AIO cooler, the custom loop machine will send cold water, pass through the components, and take the warmed water away, push it through a radiator, which has fans attached to it, which will push out the hot air that's generated through the hot water, and then pull in cold air to cool down the water again, and creating this loop that will keep the components cool. And the custom loop machine is generally performing better than the most high-end cooling system you can get. So this, other than the fact that it looks cool, it also helps cooling your system. So, what's actually inside this bad boy? The custom loop machine is built in a Phanteks case. It has an i9 10900K processor. We have 32 gigabytes of RAM, HyperX RGB. We have an RTX 3080 Ti. But instead of the normal fans that you would see on a regular graphics card, that has been stripped away. We've replaced it with a glass plate that allows the water to run through, and that's why it looks like an ant maze. We have a 1 terabyte Samsung NVMe. We have a 1200 watt power supply. And then we have the Asrock Z490 Aqua Motherboard. There are 999 cards of this in the world. It is a custom loop motherboard specially designed for custom loop, and it is one of the heaviest motherboard that we have ever had the pleasure of handling. It is very, very unique, and quite frankly, it looks awesome. So that's what's inside the machine. We have a bit older processor than we're used to. Some of the top contenders are 12th generation i9 processors. So we will most likely not see a very high CPU score, but the 3080 Ti card with a custom loop cooling system should net us a pretty decent score. Even though this looks insanely cool, we will not be able to beat the top contenders of our powerboard. We will not have a new number one machine here. But it's going to be interesting to see how much the liquid cooling will affect our result. Can we get a higher score than we would expect with this hardware? The 10th generation processor will not be able to net a high enough score to be able to compete with the 12th generation processors. There is a big gap between 10th to 11th and up to 12th. But let's get to it. Let's start the testing and see what result we will get from this custom loop machine. We're back with a score. It's pretty good. I think it's cool. We ended up with 9,029. Now this is a pretty decent score. As you can see, the CPU dragged down the result, but we ended up with a score of 9,600 on the graphics card, which is somewhere near the 3090 card. And I think that we can contribute this higher score to the effective cooling through the custom loop here. This is pretty damn good. it would be interesting to see what we could reach with a water-cooled 3090 card and an i9 12th generation K processor. Now remember, these processors are not clocked. We are doing this out of the box. So this is not an overclocked system. None of the computers up on the power board have been overclocked. Oh, this is actually pretty cool. So we've beaten a build that had an i9 but 11th generation processor and a similar RTX 3080 Ti. So we get 300 more, and I'm pretty sure we can contribute this to the, well, we have more RAM, but that's not going to affect it so much. But the higher cooling capabilities of this custom loop machine has netted us some valuable points. Thank you so much for watching this episode of Shock Gaming Powerboard. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and remember to ring that bell button so you get notifications each time we post videos about awesome computer stuff. Bye!